Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company and welcome back to our sponsored series of videos. This summer we've been sent a range of products by Happy Valley Honey, who are the UK sole distributors of the Honey Paw polystyrene Langstroth hive products, and we've set up this apiary to show a range of the different products that we've been sent. If you haven't seen any of the previous videos, I'll pop a link into the description and also into the video so that you can go back and take a look at the earlier videos. Today we've returned to the apiary to take a look at the colony that we performed the shook swarm procedure on, and if you haven't seen that, please do take a look at the earlier video. I'm hopeful that we've now had a colony that has expanded across all of the brood frames. There were only a couple that hadn't been drawn with fresh comb, and if that's the case we can then remove the feeder and look to getting another box on them, hopefully with a view to producing a summer crop of honey. So I'm going to get my bee suit on, we'll light the smoker and head into the apiary. So we're all set, the smoker's lit. I've just given them a little bit of smoke at the entrance. I've remembered to put my glasses on today, I constantly forget, and if you do wear reading glasses and you need them to be able to see eggs, then obviously pop your glasses on. So we'll give them another little bit of smoke. So the Happy Valley Honey Paw Hives are a 10 frame brood box. It's a polystyrene hive, and this one we have set up with one of their standard roofs, or a telescoping roof, which has these sides which come down the side. They also do one called a migratory roof, which is a flat edged roof. So we'll pop that down in front and we'll just have a look to see. They've taken some of the sugar syrup, so they're still in the feeder. So I'll just take the feeder off and then we can get down into the brood box. So we're into the brood box. The bees are not particularly happy today, whether it's the conditions, atmospheric conditions. So they're still drawing the outside frame. And this frame is being drawn, but they're putting the syrup into that one. So we need to just keep them under control with the smoker. So this is a 10 frame brood box. One of the nice things about this particular brood box is that it's got a little plastic runner that runs along the inside, whereas some of the other poly hives that I've used don't have this, and it tends to pull at the polystyrene a little bit. So we've got some brood in this section here, so the queen has laid eggs all the way over to this side, and the same on this side of the frame. They've still yet to draw this section of comb. But I have noticed that the blackberries are now pretty much in flower around us, so they will now be getting a lot of their nectar from the blackberries. And I can see that we've got eggs in this frame as well. But I think that once we've got them settled into this new home, we'll have to just check their temperament, and that's another reason for keeping records, just to make sure that you're monitoring the temperament of the bees. If you have several colonies, you want to be able to make sure that the temper of all of the colonies is nice and steady. So at the moment they appear to be leaving the bottom corner at the rear of the hive, and they're not drawing it quite as quickly as they have at the front edge of the colony. So we really would like to see them pull these all the way across before we put an additional box on top of them. And this is one of the areas where you have to be fairly patient with the bees, because if you put a box on another super or a brood box before they've fully drawn the bottom box, the bees will just come up in the middle. Rather than completely drawing all of those frames, they'll just come straight up the middle, and it's known as chimneying, and it's basically where the bees will just go straight up the middle in a style of a chimney, rather than working across all of the frames before they then go up. So we've got quite a lot of brood that is set to emerge. So in these frames in particular, you can see that the brood here that's all capped is actually quite dark, and that's the bees beneath that have now taken on their colour and will be emerging. And in fact, there's a bee just here that's now starting to emerge. Let's just help her out. Here she comes. So this is a new bee that's just emerged from the cell, and the bees will now clean that cell ready for the queen to lay more eggs in it. So Paul at Happy Valley Honey has a website. If you check the description below the video, you'll find all of the links to his website and also links to the various products. Please do take a look. Paul has been very supportive in helping me produce these videos by sending across this equipment, and it would be great if you could just take a moment to pop over and have a look at his website. So we've just got a couple more frames to look at, and then that will be the inspection completed. And so this frame, you can see, has been filled with brood at one point, and that's all now emerged. So given that worker brood takes 21 days to emerge, we know that the eggs were laid at least 3 weeks ago. So we're probably approaching the 4th week that we carried out the shook swarm, and they've pretty much drawn all of the frames with the exception of the outside frame that we've got here. Again, plenty of eggs in this frame, so the queen is working really well and filling up the empty cells with eggs to produce new workers. So the final frame, that's quite heavy, so it's got quite a bit of stores in it. You can see where they've stored the sugar syrup that we've been feeding them, and that's this white capping at the top here. If I just scrape it away, you can see beneath there's the sugar syrup, and the bees have taken the light sugar syrup and reduced the water content so that they can then store it without any problem. More bees emerging from this particular frame, which is good. I haven't seen the queen, but that's not a problem. We've got lots of eggs in this colony, so we know that she's at work. We'll just pop that in, and then we can close them up. So I think we'll leave the feeder on because they still have a few more frames to draw, and then we'll check them again next week. So I've put the feeder back on, and what we've got here is a 15-litre feeder, and you can see that the bees are trapped at one end where they have an entrance exit area where they can come up from the brood box and then crawl down the side and feed at the bottom, and the inside edge of that face is roughed up so that it's got little steps on it so that the bees can then climb their way back out and not get into the syrup and drown. So it's a really good design. These little plastic covers pull out so you can clean it out nice and thoroughly, and obviously once they're finished with it you can give it a good clean. The inside has been spray painted as well, and this is an external water-based gloss paint that you can use both on the outside and on this inside edge, and it looks as if it's doing a pretty good job. So we'll close the cover over the top of the feeder to prevent any bees from falling in it, and then we can get the roof back on. And then finally we have a strap that will hold everything together just to prevent any high winds from blowing the poly roof off, perhaps on a particularly windy day. So the last thing that I'd like to do is to just bring the camera around to the front. And one of the features of the ventilated floor is it has this entrance that you can flip over. So currently we've got the smaller entrance, but if I remove it and just turn it over, just tap the bees off, we can then pop it back in with a much wider entrance so that it will give the bees freer access. Just have to be a little bit careful when you're popping the entrance back down so you don't crush any bees. There we are. And so now they've got an entrance area that's approximately twice the width of the old entrance. This is hive 58. We'll leave that number there, and the bees now can come and go a little more freely. So the bees are doing really well in that brood box, not quite yet to the end frame, and we've left the feeder on there so that they can continue to take down the sugar syrup. But there's lots of blackberries now in flower here. It's early June and we can see that there's quite a lot of bees on the brambles. So hopefully they'll be getting a source of nectar, the pollen, but also they've got that sugar syrup if they want to take some additional stalls down. My thanks again to Paul at Happy Valley Honey for supplying us with these Honey Paw polystyrene Langstroth hives. If you'd like to take a look at them, please do have a look in the description below, where I'll put some links directly across to Paul's website and also some more information about Paul's company generally. Don't forget, you can also catch up with us on Instagram, Twitter. We have our Facebook page where you can join in the conversation at Stewart's Beekeeping Basics. And also don't forget, we've got lots of other videos that you can access via our Patreon page. And again, I'll leave all of the links down in the description below. We're going to carry out some more inspections now. So until next time, thanks for watching.